All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Solomonscrown. Back at it again with another review video. But before we start the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because go, it helps us in the long run to become bigger than what we are right now. But anyways, guys, we are going to look at a video by O'Shea Jackson, a very popular Black YouTuber in the Black manosphere, and he's talking about the whole viral situation about Tia Mowry from that sitcom Sister Sister and her husband being divorced after 14 years of marriage. Let's check it out.
What is marriage but a temporary setback in your life?
Yeah.
Tia Mowry is one half of the twins that was on Sister Sister, her sister being Tamara Mowry. Tamara is married, I believe, to a German man, a German American. But Tia Mowry was married to a brother. And I would say, I always will give a sister some props for marrying the Black man, especially, and in my honest opinion, she had other opportunities to do something else. And she's very, very beautiful and all that. So I'll give her props. But you know what? I want to talk about this because there were some rumors that have been clarified to be true that she is marrying her husband, Cory Hardrict, who, when he met her, from what I understand, not very popular. So now this is very similar to, let's say Jesse Williams and Aaron Drake Lee situation, where she was doing very good in real estate and he was a teacher. But what they have said happened is this: ever since he has this new acting role on All American Homecoming, he thinks he's too big for Tia, feeling himself lately and all of that. Basically, and so I don't know if there's cheating going on, if there's everything going on, and basically Tia pretty much picked his ass up off the streets and basically gave him everything that he got. So now it's to a point where after she has built him up, he don't need her no more. That's one of the stories. But the problem for me is, if this is true, why is Tia doing that in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question. If these hints are true, and he's admitted it, hey, when I met her.
But that's the thing too, is like, she's filing for divorce. Like, why wouldn't he file for divorce if he felt like, yo, I don't need her anymore? But they're gonna go into like, oh, maybe he just wants to control her or mentally abuse her or keep her under his thumb, this and that. But I'm not taking sides yet. I don't know the full story.
I have a theory, but let's keep watching.
Yeah.
I have nothing. So then why, as a woman, Tia, did you get with a man that didn't have anything at the height of your career? I think I know why. Because the
message,
the height of Tia's career, it might have already been too late. So another possibility for me is, here you go with the husband son thing. And I want to tell you something, guys. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
Bro, did he call it a husband son, bro? Like,
I mean,
is that like having a husband that you can also control, like your child, because you feel like he is underneath you and you are his mother wife,
mm-hmm,
who needs to tell this man everything that he needs to do, which is perfectly fine for raising a man who has not been necessarily guided down the right paths. Like, men do it with women all the time, where it's like, yo, you need to stop spending money on this, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they don't look at it as trying to be their fathers. They're literally trying to build a man up to be their equal, or build a woman up to be their equal. But women think differently when it comes to that, because once a man becomes their equal or surpasses them, then they no longer have control. Which we talk about this all the time, where they say that men try to control women, but women who try to control men are probably worse, 10 times worse. So,
I mean, facts.
So let's keep going.
I think it's excellent if her sister's doing very well. And she finds you and she kind of cleans you up, and that can happen. But one of the downfalls to that is that you don't get a lot of respect, because whatever you got, she gave it to you. I'm not saying the brother didn't work, but I'm just saying that's what happens, right? And so you get this sort of situation to where, okay, I'm with her, I'm happy, but I don't like how she's talking to me. Or I'm not getting what I want to get out of the relationship. So now once I really get on my feet, I'm going to show her. And you'd be surprised how often that happens. You'd be surprised. And then as time goes on and that guy starts doing better and don't need you as much, he might not take your stuff. Now, again, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm just estimating. But here's what I do know. For all black men out there, before you get married to a woman, have your stuff together. Especially marrying a woman from our community.
Yeah.
Have it together. You know what society has conditioned ladies to feel. The empathy is very low towards guys who don't have it together. They can love you all day. They can give you the love in the bedroom. But what you're going to be dealing with is a lot of problems. And when you want to be a man, and if you're a man that can't provide, you a man that can't take care of your wife, and you get what you got because of your wife, that's always going to be hanging over you, brother. It's going to be real.
Facts.
My brother has a saying. He told me like this: before you get a spouse, get a house. Before you get a wife, get a life. So there will be no hassle in your castle. I'm going to say it again. Before you get a spouse, get a house. Before you get a wife, get a life. So there will be no hassle in your castle. And if you black men go against that formula, you're going to be miserable. And that misery is going to usually end in divorce. Now, I know for him, he might not have been able to get to where he's at if it wasn't for her, and that could have been his blessing. I get that. I'm not always right on every aspect of something. But that's what we're dealing with. And let me also talk about this. People grow apart. People grow apart.
I think that people growing apart is just becoming like a norm that people use as an excuse to be like, I didn't try hard enough in my marriage, because the way marriage used to be. And I mean, I've had people tell me both sides of the story, but like, it was till death do us part, no matter what the flaws were, no matter what anything that was going on was, it was till death do us part. You made vows on that day to make this shit work. And now it's so normal for people to just be like, yo, time to get a divorce, this, and that. And it's just wild to me, but that's just my personal views.
People change. And people want different things in relationship. You know, a lot of times men start off being very docile. But as they get older and start doing better, they want more. Men want more from what they're getting from a lot of ladies. The problem is, how you start is how you finish. And one thing that is very difficult to do, if a woman has been giving you treatment for a long time and you want her to change, it's not going to happen in that relationship. Usually it's never going to happen. The only way you get change is to change the partner. Change the partner. Get that partner out of there. And sometimes it comes at the cost of kids. And again, you know, my heart goes out to children and stuff like that. But again, this is why men need to understand what kind of man they are before they get married. Yeah. Don't try to figure your manhood out in a marriage. Don't try to figure your manhood out in long-term things.
Big facts.
Know what kind of man you are, what you stand for, what your boundaries are. And I'm going to tell you something. The woman that you're going to be with is going to appreciate you more. The relationship is going to go much better because you know what you want to take and what you won't take. Here's what I will accept. Here's what I won't accept. And for good boundaries, especially with women, it helps relationships go further because now I know what standard that I need to be at as a man, and you can follow whatever she needs you to do. But too many young black men get into relationships and stuff, and you're not developed as a man yet, and you grow to, and you haven't grown up. And relationships is about being mature. Any kind of relationship, business relationship, you as a man have to be mature when the woman is being immature. If a woman is being childish that day, she expects you to not be childish with her.
Mm.
If a woman's being petty that day, she gonna expect you not to be petty with her. That's what women expect from men. And if you're not that, she gonna hate you for that. Wow, I'm being petty, but he being petty with me. Why am I with him?
Mm-hmm.
Women looking for a rock. And sometimes it takes years to harness that skill. It takes years. It takes time to develop. This is what I'm trying to teach the young brothers today. So that you don't go down this road and then you have a woman that loves you, but you can't be with her because you're not ready for what it takes. If you want to be in the business world, in the marriage world, those are things that you got to do work on every day. Things you have to put effort into every day. Checks and balances got to be made every day. Communications got to be made every day. And if you don't know that, you'll have problems.
That shit was hitting. It was on
that,
the thing.
Bro, the O'Shea was like Pastor O'Shea today.
Yo,
man.
for real though, because
like I
that's
low-key
what
think,
a lot of dudes don't
yeah,
get in their life. My bad. Nah, but like a lot of dudes don't get that in their lives. Like they don't understand that because it's always too late. We as dudes, like we get in relationships thinking that like everything's sweet because like a lot of these females, they act a certain way when they're not comfortable with you, but as soon as they get comfortable, you start seeing the subtle signs of like how they are, their nature, things like that. And it does take a lot of maturity to understand that when you meet a female, she's going to be one way. When you get 6 months to a year to 3 years, 4 years, stuff like that, like you're going to start seeing other things that this woman was low key trying to hide from you or that are already in her nature. And you may start to grow apart from her, but you have to also realize that if you maintain your steadiness, you maintain like what makes you essentially you, then that shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't phase you. And you essentially have to be like take charge essentially because like women want a man who takes charge. We saw in previous videos that if you're a simp, women don't even like acknowledge you half the time because it's like, yo, keep your dignity as a man. And I think that the toxic masculinity like movement where it's these guys are too masculine and they want to oppress women, I think that's stupid because while there are a lot of men who are hyper aggressive who try to control women, those are a lot of weaker men and a lot of the stronger men just don't have time to deal with that. So yeah, of course, if a dude blows you off because you're being childish, you can't then attack him and be like, oh, you just want a woman who's going to listen to you and be submissive and this and that. And it's like, low key, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with coming home, getting a meal cooked for you, telling your woman like, yo, I need you to do this and that. She gets it done. And then you reward her with your time, your attention, your money, her security, like all these things. It's like the women act like by doing all these things, they're not going to be rewarded. And they also look at it as like, oh, well, you're only doing these things to reward a woman. We saw a video where I think the female was talking about, it was that funny video where the dude was like, yo, you didn't give me the box. Like, I'm good. He kicks her out. Her purse gets stolen. And she immediately, as soon as her purse gets stolen, she looks at him and be like, yo, you're not going to help me? And then they had a box, an actual box to kind of like be like, yo, I need that. And he looked at the box and she was like, nah, I'm good. And he closed the door on her because you think about it, women want a man to give them money, protection, security, emotional support, be there as a provider and all these things, but then they want to not give him anything in return. And we saw even an Artist World Wilding this week that women think that giving men pussy is a favor. Like they think that's just like, oh, I threw this motherfucker some pussy because he was good this week. And it's like, that's not how that works. Like
I mean, when you look at it, even on a cellular level, even on a molecular level, everything is a transaction.
Yeah, facts.
So it's not a favor. We exchange our security, resources, our time, and in exchange for your body.
Dudes have literally died for less. Like the thing
Yeah,
is like imagine doing all these things for a female, she's not giving you any type of play, and then you die trying to protect her. And she's just gonna be like, well, that's kind of shitty that this dude like tried to defend me in a bar fight and got murdered. And now I'm just gonna move to the next guy.
exactly.
They literally throw dudes away as if they aren't even anything like, oh, this dude couldn't protect me or keep me safe, so he's not the guy for me. So
But even with that, it just the biggest point that got to me was O'Shea talking about like, building your life before building your wife and
yeah,
building your house before building your spouse. And that resonates with me so much because, younger me was like so I had no guidance, no direction. And I feel like a lot of the decisions that I made in my life was because of the lack of guidance that I have. And I believe one, this is why fathers are important in their sons' lives, because we have a lot of men who grew up this way, you know, but even more so now than ever with, women being in the competitive workforce, along with other men that we're already competing against, and just everything that's going on, it's required for men to be the best that they can be. So like you gotta hit the gym, you gotta get on your purpose, you gotta like there's no time to waste because if you're not solid, there's so much stuff that's going on that can get you in the trap. Like these dudes going around shooting up clubs, not literal
mhm.
clubs, but shooting up clubs and getting all these baby mamas or dudes being in the wrong place, wrong time, getting shot or getting caught up
Which we
in
got that
drugs
other
and stuff like
video
that.
that we saw where
Yeah,
dudes were literally getting set up on TikTok to go meet
yeah.
females and then getting robbed. So we'll cover
There's
that
there's
tomorrow.
so there's
Yeah,
so much things, especially being a black man in America, man. Like you gotta be solid. You gotta be solid mentally, physically,
everything.
financially.
And then you
And
got to move out the country.
but with, but with
Get
that
your
being said,
passport.
yeah, with facts. But with that being said, and it goes with the mentals, it gives you the ability to discern whether a chick is just for play or not even bothering with her at all, or she could be a long-term partner. And I think that's where it is. Like having discipline, being mentally, physically, financially stable, and having the wisdom and discernment to be like, yo, this is a situation that I want to be in, or this isn't a situation that I want to be in.
Because, like, as we saw with Tom Brady, no matter how great you are, your wife will leave you
Yeah.
if you don't make all the decisions that she wants to make. And the thing is, she made more money than him. So that's another
Hmm.
situation where it's like she doesn't look at Tom Brady as Tom Brady. She looks at Tom Brady as somebody who makes
A
less
comp
money than her. And
a
he was,
competitor.
yeah, like he was probably a yes man for the longest point in time. And now it's kind of like he chose, we'll get into that later. But
But it even touches into this whole situation with Cory I forgot his last name, but Cory and Tia.
mhm,
Um so Cory, apparently he didn't have much and Tia kind of picked him up and everything. And this is another reason why I say men need to be solid because in a lot of situations, especially I personally think I'm not a female. I'm just thinking from a logical standpoint that females crave security. They want to be covered up. They want to be in a safe environment. So if you put a woman in a position where she's a breadwinner and she has to go out and get money too, a lot of the times that's where issues arise, especially when that woman is more masculine, like she's the oh I gotta get to the bag type of woman. As he said, you get into I guess a mother wife or a son husband situation, and it's like anytime you kind of get a little bit of you get out of that control zone, she can't deal with you anymore because she can't control you anymore.
yeah,
So
I
because
mean,
when it
that's,
comes because you think men have big egos, women have big egos, probably
yeah.
bigger.
There's a
So
lot of women who, like in my past, I just didn't deal with because they tried to overly control me, and I was like,
mhm,
bro, like I'm good. Like you're cool and all, but me as a man, I know what's gonna work out in my best interest, and
mhm,
me allowing you to kind of like mold me into something that I don't necessarily want to be is not gonna be beneficial for either of us because uh you're gonna mold me into something that I lose my identity. Is the way I look at it. If I lose
mhm.
my identity and I put my full identity into you, which I did when I fell in love for the first time, I put my whole identity into this woman, and she was supposed to guide me and show me the way, and she ended up being a whore, bro. Like a literal like whores probably got less dick than her. Let's just say that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that messed up my whole plans. I had plans to join the Navy, to follow after my grandfather and everything like that. And she talked me out of that because she's like, "Oh, I want you to stay here. We can get a place together, this, and that." So then, I mean, you saw the situation where she tried to pin a baby on me. And it was just like, for what though? Like, why was I like the guinea pig that she wanted to like? Well, it just didn't make any sense why she would hold on to me. And I guess maybe because I was a good dude who she could
Yes,
manipulate and
you're a
everything
safe
like that.
option. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, she felt like she could do all these things, and then I just take her back. And for the most part, I did let her slide with a lot of things, but that was more so me being young and not necessarily knowing that what love was actually supposed to be. And I mean, a lot of these young dudes are getting being put into these same situations. So I like to speak from my experience level and not necessarily just talking out of my ass. Most
Mhm.
of the time, if I'm given information or get any type of guidance or advice, it's based off of an experience or multiple experience of the same instance where it didn't work out. And I guess they call that like a masochist. Like I'll continue to put myself in situations that will potentially go bad to see if there's a chance that things will go right.
Mhm.
And if I mean, like usually it's like three times it's a charm. Like if it doesn't go right the three times, and I'm just like, yo, I'm done. Like it's just like you have to. It's almost like how they do science and everything like that. Like on an emotional level, you have to go through things multiple times until you build that callus over, or was it callus?
Yeah. Sort of
Yeah,
news. Yeah.
yeah. Like so essentially building up that resistance to that negative trait. So if you're a simp and you see that simping doesn't work, eventually you won't simp. Like because
Hopefully.
yeah, I mean, some guys get it, some guys don't. But that's the thing is, you have to go through certain things, at least for me, multiple times to realize that there's no way to make this work. And you do different situations where you react to a situation in a different way, hoping for a different outcome. And if the outcome is positive and you can repeat that, then you know it works. And that's how men essentially grow over time. They go through a bunch of bad situations, they see that it doesn't work out, and then they may try it again because they're like, oh, maybe I can fall in love again and it won't hurt this time. And then they literally get broken even worse. And that's why a lot of these dudes are in the gym. That's why a lot of these dudes are focusing on themselves. That's why a lot of these dudes are like, yo, I'm just out here getting money. I'm a slam through these thoughts when I go down to whatever bar row in America now, because like literally all you have to do is be like, yo, my name is John. I work at the gym and I got a six pack, and these females were like, well, here's my panties, here's like just nutting me, like all types of stuff, bro. Like, and I mean, if y'all want to get into that stuff, we might have to just do another YouTube channel or find a platform where we can't get banned, because I heard in the last 3 days, I've heard too many stories that is just like diabolical and debaucherous that I don't even know like if like women are really even worth it at this point for a lot of these younger dudes, because the way that some of these stories went, I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
beyond fatherless behavior. Like,
It's
like,
wild, bro.
like,
It's wild.
it's to the point. It's like, yo, if y'all are whores, just say that. Just say like, literally, just be like, yo, we are trying to get it in, no matter how it is. And I don't want to get off topic, but
But
the the end goal is, as a man, you should always be striving to be able to self-sustain yourself. Like if you are not sustainable by yourself and a woman says like, oh, I'm gonna help you and things
No,
like that, like it's not worth it because
it's not worth it. It's not. It's not.
as much as it sounds like you're just making your life harder, men's lives will always be harder than women's lives no matter what, because as just Pearly Things always says, it's like women always have a scapegoat or a safety net for anything they do in life. If you're a man who puts your faith in a woman and she leaves you, or she controls a vast majority of like how things go on in your life, and she decides one day that she wakes up and she's like, this is not what I want anymore, because lately I've been noticing that you have been getting more and more independent and you don't need me. What are you actually left with? Nothing. So get your finances right, get your mental right, take all these things, go to the gym, get your physical health up. All these things will attract a woman at the end of the day, regardless. The best thing a man can do for himself is work on himself, because if a woman wants you, she will come after you. And if you're chasing after women all day because you think like one of them's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna settle down with you, it's not gonna be that.
That's
Like
facts. That's facts.
the thing is, the society is changing to where women don't think that they need to chase men, and that's fine, because that's weeding out the bad. Like the women
The
who
bat.
believe that they don't need to chase a man because they're high value and they can only date the top breadwinners, that's fine. Them women are going to be alone
Oh
in the
yeah.
long run, because
Mhm.
just like men have competition, women have competition too.
Oh,
And for every chick that isn't going to do something for a man, another woman's going to do it 10 times better and actually be like, yo, this is a solid dude, I need to lock him down, period. And they're going to just be laughing to the altar when all you single chicks who thought you could get a high value man are sitting there lonely, being a bridesmaid, being the chick catching a bouquet and never getting married, because you don't want to make compromises. You want to listen to B. Simone and be like, yo, you shouldn't compromise or settle for a man. Okay, cool. I hope you like cats. But before we get banned on YouTube or any other social media platforms, if Pop doesn't have anything to say, we out.
no, you said it perfectly, bro. Peace out.
Peace.